of the potentially meeting New Zealand in the quarterfinals. But in 2015, you had France, England, and New Zealand in the playoffs. 2015, you had New Zealand, South Africa had New Zealand in the semi-finals, and before that, Australia in the quarterfinals. So it obviously happens, and you're going to have to play these big teams at some stage. Do you prefer them in the playoffs or in the pool stages?
I guess if you had a team like New Zealand in your pool, you probably, if you had lesser teams or lesser ranked teams or teams on form, you would have preferred to have them in your pool, so you have another chance later on. But I mean, we've done it the other way around where we had them in our pool. So yeah, it's difficult to say. I can't. Yeah, on New Zealand, look, we're going to play them last year twice. Next year we're going to play them 4 times before the World Cup. So we would have been really used to each other, and yeah, and then you still have 3 pool games to check how they play if you do get them. So I don't know, it's a benefit and a bad thing, but I can't say I'm disappointed or glad about that.
Kaniso?
Thank you very much, Dina. Good morning, Rassie. And when Sia comes in, good morning to him too. Are you happy with how the draws process, Rassie? The fact that it's never nice, as you rightly said, it's never nice seeing big teams being piled up so early in the playoff stages. But are you happy with how the draws proceeded?
Yeah, 100% happy. I mean, we were told 2 years ago that this year is going to be the World Cup draw, and as far as I understood, there could have been a negative if you land outside the top 6. I don't. Maybe for Argentina, was it good for them to end where they end? I'm not sure. We just tried on this table to end as high as we can in this specific year. Pre and post this World Cup ranking is really not important for us. Then how much do we win? How much do we do squad depth? So when I watched it yesterday, I was thinking, okay, did it benefit us really? I think in our pool, maybe if you take Georgia and Romania, but probably those games will give you a real physicality, Georgia and Romania. And then if you think about Italy, I've said it earlier this year, I think Italy will be 3 or 4 in my personal opinion, just because we played against him 3 times this year, and we're going to play against him end of year 2 next year. So yeah, I can't be saying I'm unhappy about it. I mean, nobody can get the perfect draw that helps them. So playing those guys in the quarterfinals, semi-finals, the only bad thing about a quarterfinal, if you lose there, I've been part of that. You know, you get out of that change room and you split up and you don't see the boys again, and you go home. That's and if you don't make it in the semi-final, you at least stay there and have a 3rd and 4th place payoff. So yeah, I can't moan about it. Everybody will find a problem with anything. That's the draw, and we have to go with it and start planning for it.
All right, guys, Sia is on the call. Sia, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear.
Is your camera on, Sia?
Yes.
Okay, for some strange reason I can't see it, but yeah, but I'm sure your voice will be fine. Next question, Stephen.
Stuck in the car.
Stephen.
Okay, let's skip Stephen. Angus.
Thank you, Z. Good morning, Coach Ras. Coach, just one from me also. Just what's your feeling going into this tournament as favourites with the possibility of securing a 5th title?
I tell you, we're thinking of next year first, and I can't answer you a different answer because I will be lying. You know, it's a new competition. The Autumn Nations Cup is something that's in there. I can tell you that we are trying to build our team and be a really competitive team who can win it in 2027. But you can lose that sort of favourite tag very quickly if you have a bad year the year before the World Cup. I don't think the team has ever responded negative to pressure. I think, you know, in the British Irish Lions series through COVID, you know, against the Wolves in 2019, 2023, 1 pointer. So hopefully that doesn't dry up before we get to the World Cup. But yeah, I don't think tags, favourites or underdogs bother us on the this time. I think when we get into the tournament, it might, or we might not even be favourites then.
Leeson.
Thank you, Z. Hello, Rassie. Hi,
Hello.
Sia. Hope you guys are well.
Yeah.
Rassie, seeing that you now know what your pool looks like and knowing the plenty of tests for next year, does this give you more scope to give those youngsters, Ethan Hooker, Sash, Morne van der Berg, does this open the door for them more in 2026, knowing that in the end, 2027, they might face New Zealand in a quarterfinal?
Yeah, I think that's that's a great question. That's a tough thing to actually pinpoint and say exactly how you're going to do it. Because, as at the Autumn Nations Cup, we've got the greatest rivalry next year. We've got a new competition, the Autumn Nations Cup, where you're going to have tables and you play against England, Wales, and Scotland in June. And then the end of year tour, you play 3 matches, and then you play a semi-final, a final. So it will be the first time that we play that. It's going to sound funny, but one probably must prioritize what you want to try and do next year. Because obviously you want to try and win every single game. But will it be the end of the world if you don't win the Autumn Nations Cup? But you've really, and you lost the game here and there. And my head is more towards don't chase the Autumn Nations Cup and then not be ready for 2027. That's how I feel here today at the moment. And that's why your question is very relevant. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, the World Cup is 18 months out. I think you must start focusing on a World Cup.
Vince?
Hi, good morning, team. Rassie, you mentioned the importance of the world rankings at this time heading into the World Cup draw. Just your thoughts on the quirks of how the draw worked out with yourselves and New Zealand being 1 and 2 in the world and potentially meeting in the quarterfinal is very different from, say, a Wimbledon or a French Open where the top seeds would be on different sides of the draw, and if they made it all the way through, would only end up meeting in the final.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that. Really, I think one of the previous guys also asked me that, seeing that we're meeting better teams earlier. I think Italy is going to be tough. And then who do you play in the round of 16? I don't know, can it be Tonga? We'll see how things develop. And then you might hit New Zealand. If you don't win the tournament, and you're out, you're anyway going to play them in a final if you're good enough. Because if it wasn't them, it could have been France. France is just as tough. If it wasn't them, it could have been Ireland. Ireland is just as tough. So, yeah, I really can't moan about the whole draw. And I think it's much easier when there's a seeding in tennis. In the rugby next year, you drop 6 places. So it's far out to determine what form the guys are going to be in the World Cup.
Stephen?
Thank you.
Stephen.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Apologies for just now.
No problem.
Rassie, something that's interesting, I mean, obviously, without disrespect to the other teams, one would expect you to, be comfortable winners in the group stages. And then likely, as we talked about New Zealand, but that's, it could be Australia as well.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable that you've got enough of a workout by the time you hit the quarterfinals, considering the opposition that you are facing? Or do you think your guys will be sort of physically ready to take on a team like New Zealand?
Yeah. Stephen, I'm more worried about the traveling time and where you're based and all of those things hasn't been cleared up. Charles Wessels, our general manager, is busy with that. Currently, if you're playing a game in Perth and you're flying from Perth to Sydney, and I probably think Australia, and that's why I think New Zealand's going to have it pretty tough. Probably, I would think some of the big games will be played in Sydney, and I think that will be the tough part of the draw. So having you guys battle ready, I mean, Georgia is going to physically give it to you. Romania is going to physically give it to you, and I really think Italy is on the up, and we can always intense up the training sessions, because we've got 33 players that all can start for you, so you can rev that really up, and leading into the tournament you can and we would have done the greatest rivalry, Argentina and Australia, before that, so we will almost be a little bit punch drunk when we go into that. So more the traveling time, when we've tried to work it out and to see when is the long flights. Probably Australia will stay in Sydney and not travel a lot. I'm not sure. I might be under correction. I think that will be more of a challenge when you're playing in a country that's not so big, size-wise.
Guys, just a reminder here, he's also on the call if you want to ask some questions. Otherwise, he's just going to be hanging there. Ross?
Thanks, E. How's it, guys?
Hello.
Sorry, Sia, I'm asking Rassie one here as well. Rassie, how do you sort of feel about having a team less in the pool stage and that extra knockout game? How does that sort of change your planning, or is it still relatively similar to how you approached the other two World Cups?
I'm not sure. I haven't been through it. I've been to 4 World Cups with a team, but I haven't been through that. It's actually now you can be knocked out there. And it's probably a good thing for the other lower tier nations to have another chance. So if that's good for rugby, and there's more pressure on the teams, all teams play it. All teams who gets to that round of 16 play it. So we can't moan. It's another game where you can be kicked out. It's another week where there will be big pressure on you. So normally there were 3, let's say 1 tough pool game in the past, and then there was a quarterfinal, semi-final, final. And so the World Cup was actually 4 really tough games, but the World Cup became now 5 really tough games. If I can put it that way, with none of the disrespect for other players in your other teams in your pool. It's almost tougher than the Rugby Championship games wise now.
Mike?
How's it, guys? Hello, everyone. Question for Sia. Sia, I'm just wondering if, when you watched that draw yesterday, you kind of felt a little wave of excitement there. It's, it's just made it all seem a little bit more real that this World Cup is coming. Just your thoughts as one of the older guys, maybe you can even speak for some of the older guys, just how much hunger and motivation is there to get to this 27 World Cup for you guys?
Yeah, we are obviously excited. We want the opportunity to be able to get there. That's what we're working towards, and that's what we've enjoyed about this year. What Coach Rassie has done in using 50 players. That means, for us who are a bit older, we don't play as much, and everybody gets an opportunity, and the guys that are new in the squad are getting an opportunity, so that if we do fall or not make it to the World Cup, that nobody has to stress. But like as Coach Rassie said, like we can't look so far ahead. What's important for us is next year. We still got to get through next year for us as players, and then see how we are at the end of that year. But I'm excited to see what the plans Coach Rassie and the coaching staff have for coming next year. But I think the way we've bought in as players to what the coaches have done and how fresh the when we have to play, or
See, are you breaking up?
a better chance for us to make it than playing every weekend. Sorry, the network is bad.
Yeah, you stop talking there. Yeah, better chance for your players to make it. That part I didn't hear before that.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm saying the way the squad has been rotated is giving us a better chance to be able to make it. Our bodies are in a better place, and the way that the squad has bought into that has been amazing. But obviously, the focus will still be next year for us and see how we do there. And I know, as Coach Rassie said, he's going to focus on that. We can't even think of the World Cup yet. So looking forward to playing next year.
Mike?
Mike?
Okay, let's skip Mike. Algan?
Good morning, Rassie.
Morning.
Yesterday, responding to the draw, England said they'd love to face the Springboks more than I think just the one game that's currently scheduled between now and the World Cup. I just wondered if that'd be something the Springboks be interested in, or with 4 tests against the All Blacks Nations Championship, is that more than enough preparation for you guys?
We've got a pretty full year next year. We're playing them next up. If we can squeeze in another test match before the end of year 2 as a friendly, like we do with other teams, we will be all up for it. If we can do another one before we go into the autumn series. We always need a test match before the end of year, so maybe Charles and they must get on the line and see if they can organize that for us.
Francisco?
Yes, nice to meet you. Thanks, Coach Erasmus. Yeah. I'm from Italy.
Okay.
for us, the draw was very tough. Three matches will be 3 matches very difficult in Rugby World Cup. But you spent a lot of good words for Azzurri, for Gonzalo Quesada team. So I want to ask you, what's the problem can Italia give you to the pool stage match? Thanks.
Nice to talk to you. They can give us troubles. I'm going to try and repeat this so you guys get exactly what I'm trying to say. So this year we played them 3 times. Next year we're going to play them end of year 2 again. So we're going to have played them 4 times prior to a World Cup. So the little bit of things, game plans, it's almost like training against the team you're playing so much. The same with New Zealand, if I can say it that way. It won't be the same with Australia and Argentina because the Rugby Championship isn't there next year. So Gonzalo is a very sharp guy. And if their team is fit, I think their player depth is maybe a thing where they are always in Six Nations, they run sort of out of steam because they don't have enough players. But when they play us in the draw, they'll be strong still. And we've met them many times in World Cup games, you know. So they're a clever team. They're from all over the world. They've got experience from France, from different clubs. Very few of them actually play in Italy. Well, not very few. So, no, that will be our pressure game in that pool.
Aniso?
Thank you very much, Zina. Yeah, nothing question of us, but we asked them the question to Ratsi earlier. What have you made of the draw first and foremost, and the fact that there's a possibility of meeting New Zealand in the quarterfinals if all pans out in Pool A?
I think the draw is good. I think it will be tough. Like Coach Rice said, Italy is a good team that we had to dig deep and fight for to play against. And I think like it doesn't matter who you play when. At the end of the day, you have to beat everybody to win the World Cup. So we can't dwell on that. But yeah, I think what I know is that whoever is in a way, you're gonna have to beat to win. So whether you play them early or later, you're gonna play them either way. So yeah, I think for us, it will be just.
Yeah, you're breaking up again.
World Cup. Who's in front of us on? Sorry, it's horrible. The pool. Yeah.
Okay.
Last against them, and then also in the playoffs, we play first to last. Maybe let me take off my cam. Is it better now?
Yeah.
Is it better? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pool, we happy, and we know how tough Italy will be. And our focus when we play in the World Cup, our mindset is always game after game. And as we're asking him, how do we feel about playing New Zealand in the playoffs? We are first to get there, but also it doesn't matter where you actually play a team. You can't predetermine that. And at the end of the day, you have to win every game to win the World Cup. So somewhere you're gonna have to play them. So whether it's early or later, I don't think it really matters. You just have to make sure you win the games that you play.
Z, before you give somebody else a chance, we can go a bit longer. Just to add to what you asked there, I think you can ask any team in the past, is it nice to have a runner-up medal? Yeah, but you don't go walking around after a runner-up medal. If you go third place, you don't go and brag about that. Fourth place, you don't go and brag about that. When you're out in quarterfinal, you don't go and brag about that. So if you strike a team early, or you lose in the final. Not many people talk about teams who came second in the final. South Africa in 2015 were only with 2 points short against New Zealand. You know, do we brag that we came third, or it's so? The thing is to win a World Cup. So if you lose in the World Cup final, you don't have the gold medal. So I think where you get knocked out, because if you get knocked out in the final, you're knocked out. You did not win the final. So I guess that's what me and Sia is trying to say.
Lita?
Thank you, Z. Rassie, this one is again for you, please. It seems like in the group stages that that the draw has taken away one of your strengths of the last two World Cups, where you lost one pool game and then you went on to win the tournament. Do you feel that is the case at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. We might talk to Kusada and ask, let's see what happens there between Australia and New Zealand. And maybe we can just, lose one there. No, I'm joking. No, it's easier there, but then the strength is you now play at the round of 16. Jokingly, no, I don't think it's happened before, but I don't think we want to lose a pool game.
Guys, Sia's network is bad, so he's going to have to jump off soon. Are there any further questions for Sia, and then we can let him go?
I'd like to ask Sia one.
Okay, Ross?
Thanks, Sia. Sia, the performance of some of the youngsters this season, Ethan, Kanan, Sasha, has that lit a bit of an extra fire under you older guys, who've won 2 World Cups already? I'm sure, you guys will be fired up to try win a 3rd in a row, but has those youngsters coming through and putting pressure on you guys just added fuel to that fire for you now heading towards 2027?
Sorry, Ross. Sia just sent a message to say that his phone is freezing. So yeah, he'll jump off and probably try to get on again. But let's take further questions for Rassie in the meantime.
No problem. Thanks.
Sorry. Steve?
Thank you. Rassie, there's a lot of talk about you being on a collision course with the All Blacks, but do you think it's that obvious? I mean, because the All Blacks are in Australia's group, I know Australia didn't have a great tour, but, on their home ground, they, wouldn't they be more likely to be the team that played against the Lions? I mean, is it such an obvious draw, do you think? Or are people maybe not underestimating the Wallabies?
I think they underestimate the power of a home nation. I mean, you look at 1995, I don't think we were favourites going in there. And then when we went to France, I don't think France, if that game wasn't played in France at that specific year, and then everybody wouldn't have talked about us in France. So I do think they're making a big judgment call just to say All Blacks are going through, playing at home for Australia, and they would have worked out in a World Cup the travel and the rest and the jet lag and when is 5-day turnarounds and when is 7 days turnarounds, all of those things play a role. How big is your squad? How strong is your squad? So no, they're playing the host in their pool. So New Zealand's going to have a tough time also, as we will, to get to that game against us.
Guys, we're almost running out of time, so let's just take the last 4 hands that are up now. Francesco, do you have another question?
No, thanks.
Okay, Kaniso?
Yes, thank you very much. I do. Rassie, you talked about maybe slipping in a friendly against England. How about Romania in particular? Because probably they're of the teams that are in the group, they're probably the one side that you haven't come across in a while, and in their own sector of rugby, they've been doing very well.
Yeah, no, yes, it's true. But you also, I was actually saying the gentleman asked me, I can't remember who it was, asked me, we haven't played against England, and we might meet them somewhere, and we're always looking for a warm-up game, and we're busy with one, and that thing will come out the moment it's done. And I just on the run said when he asked me, maybe we can organize one because we haven't played each other in a while. But the other side, if we organize one against Romania, then Romania won't be, it will be a tough game as well. So, yeah, I can't comment on that. And you will rather take the chance and meet him in the pool.
Steve?
Hi, Rassie. Thanks for taking the time. I have 2 questions if we have the time. So I'm South African, but based in Asia, covering rugby here. So my first question was, you have a lot of Springboks who obviously play their club rugby in Japan, which the season kicks off next weekend. Do you think having that many players playing in Japan has had benefits in terms of prolonging their careers or playing in different environments? Like, what positives do you see for those players?
I think for players, certain players who's made their mark, and then go to the Japanese league, it's definitely less tiring on their bodies. I do think we've got a great relationship with the Japanese clubs where last year's game outside the window, their players was made available, which we actually played against Japan. The last game which we played against Wales, some of the Japanese clubs released their players, but then the Japanese league also have a rule. You can only have so many foreign-based players in your clubs, so they get really a lot of rest there. They're older guys. I think for a young guy to go to Japan, we'll definitely not pick him. But a guy like Manie Libbok is playing in the B division in Japan, and we know what he can do. And he's been coached by Quade Cooper and Guinea, I think. So there's a lot of things that's positive there, but not for a young guy to go over there and think we're still going to pick him from there.
Alvin?
Thanks, that's fair enough.
Second question.
If we have time for a second one, just Eddie yesterday in the press conference mentioned something I haven't heard other coaches talk about the World Cup, and that's the different climates and weather you're going to face in Australia. You talked about the travel time, but you might have a very humid game up north and you might have a very cold game in Melbourne. How do you kind of fit that into your planning as well?
No, we do. And yeah, it's like when you play in Argentina, you play in Buenos Aires, you play in Santiago, you almost die of all the heat. And yeah, it's playing in Perth and playing in Melbourne, for example, there's a massive difference. We've now been lucky in the last couple of years. They've taken us to different places. So most of the players will have a memory of the different fields. But until we get that travel time, we can't really plan for and who you're playing and when do you have an 8-day turnaround, depending, because you don't know where you're going to end in your pool, hopefully first, then who you're playing. Say it's Australia, you'll probably fly to Sydney. So yeah, I think the travel time and the weather is going to play a massive role in this World Cup.
All right, last two questions, Elgin, and then Jan.
Hi, Rassie. There's been a lot of press up here in the Northern Hemisphere the last week about the possibility of Bernhard Janse van Rensburg playing for England. I just wondered if he's ever come close to featuring in Springboks plans, indeed if he might feature in plans over the next year or two.
Oh, he's on our success and planning list, and he's certainly a guy that we've many times looked at and thought, okay, can he do it? And then you see him again, a great game, and you see him in the Barbarians game. And some of our coaches know him really well. I mean, but he's available for England now. World Rugby found a special ruling in the regulation that prohibited guys to do that, but they found a special rule that they can do it. And shit, we wouldn't like to stand in the guy's way who can make it for England. So if two centres now goes down, he might be in the mix. But there's also a lot of young guys in South Africa that we think can do it. So good for him that he can play for them.
Then we'll finish up with Jan.
Thanks, Zina, and thank you, Rassie. Rassie, you mentioned earlier that your focus will be starting to shift to 2027 now. But how difficult is it to balance the need to win next year, given that you're playing the greatest rivalry, and then also focusing on 2027? How difficult is that?
It's difficult. I think the thing is, the moment you try and win every game, let's say this year was a season where we played all the matches we've played, and we were playing for a cup when we played. Of course, the Nations Cup is almost a tier 1 World Cup, if you think about it, in my opinion. So, yeah, you don't want to be punch drunk next year, December, November, and you want to make sure your players who you can pick for the next year can win. So, I don't think we'll take up any game lightly, but I think we will be willing to take a few shots and maybe an uppercut here and say, okay, guys, we rolled the dice here, but world ranking isn't important this year. Would you rather be in a year before the World Cup lift the Nations Cup trophy or be ready for the World Cup? So that's a difficult thing to handle. And then obviously the greatest rivalry starts next year. That's massive for us as well. So we've got 2 massive competitions we're playing next year. So I'm not sure how to answer that directly today.
Great. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Rassie. And sorry that Sia's line was bad, guys. Apologies for that. World Rugby will send out the recording later. Have a good day. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.